Hi, it's Darin Butcher here from Darin's Desk, and welcome back to the June edition. And a lot happening in the marketplace. Elections just happened, and we've got interest rates, and we're going to discuss that all as it's going through. So let's get started.
Darin.
Matt.
Thank you for joining me again.
Oh, it's a pleasure, mate.
So last week there was an announcement of an interest rate rise. Could you give us a bit of an insight as to what that announcement was?
Okay, so they announced that there was a 50 basis points increase in the interest rate, which in real terms means 0.5%. And that's quite a big chunk in one hit. Normally, it's normally at 10 basis points or 25 basis points, but this was 50, and it's a big jump. So what it means for the mums and dads out there is that on $1 million loan, it's $279 each per month. I read in one of the articles about $139, hypothetically, if it's $500,000. So it's a decent increase per month when things like your petrols and cost of livings have gone up and things like that.
Right. So what does that rise in the interest rate mean for our buyers and sellers out there?
Well, it certainly means from a buyer's perspective, it's a good time to be getting an interest rate rise because they can lock in and they can secure what they're going to be paying. So even though prices might drop, to get it at the price that it is at the moment and have a lower rate might be better from a day-to-day point of view for them and a week-to-week paying their bills. From an owner's point of view, well, I would say to you, it does mean that there's going to be pressure on the marketplace. There's going to be more properties coming on as investors sell theirs. And that's going to bring a bit of a glut into the marketplace. So you're going to find that more properties will hit the market. I like being an optimist rather than pessimist, but right now I need to be a realist, and the realist will actually say that your marketplace is falling, and it's time to get on and off if you're an owner of a property.
Right. So you are talking a little bit about a decrease in price value or housing prices. What kind of decrease are we seeing out there at the moment?
Well, depends in which areas, because different areas have different amounts. But what you'll find is, over the whole, you could probably say 10 to 15% is where you can see it. Whilst a lot of people are saying, oh no, the market's the same and we still can get record prices. It's like sifting for gold. If you grab enough of a mountain, you can actually sift for gold and you'll find some, and you might find one every now and again. But if you're looking at the whole mountain, you're going to have to realize that there's not a lot. And so out there might be that needle in the haystack that's actually wanting and still prepared to pay yesterday's prices, but they are very limited now. And to get on and off the market is probably more important than actually getting an absolute premium price. Now, it's not that we don't try for it, and it's not that we're not actually still achieving great prices, but I would say to people, while you're shooting for the stars, sometimes you need to understand that that your price might drop even further. And I always say to people, it's like a set of steps on the side. We were on step 1. We're now on step 2. We're heading to step 3. It may be worth cutting off of the pass and getting a great price rather than looking for that fantastic price of price 1, but then end up getting step 3, which is a big difference in price.
Right. Interesting. So we've also just had a recent federal election. Mm-hmm. Can you give us a bit of a rundown on what that means in the real estate world, how that affects prices or anything like that?
Yeah, look, traditionally, and I'm only talking traditionally, look, I'm neither party or any other parties that are out there. But Labor, when Labor's in, generally the economy tanks a little bit. And I'm not being tough in saying that. It's just general assumption. Yep. And for a small business, we find it very, very difficult during Labor terms on a whole. But in saying that, there's individual people that do a great job, and we have seen alternatives to that over years, but I'm talking over many, many years. What I would say to you at the moment is that we do know that we're going into tougher times, whether that was already going to present itself because of COVIDs and the debt levels that we got to or whatever. But it does look like we're going to have to batten down the hatches. Inflation has gone sky high. They're going to try to get hold of it, which means they are going to hike interest rates and all the rest of it, which means the average person which lives in the Central Coast, which is where I'm born and bred, is going to probably struggle a little bit more than what they were. The rise in wages and employment and all the rest of it isn't as high as what the inflation's going to be. And so you only have to know that by going to the petrol tank and filling your petrol tank up, and you go, wow, that's an extra $20-30 to what I was used to. Yep. And unfortunately, if you do that and then you go and buy lettuce, which is twice as dear, 5 times as dear as what it was, and there's other areas that you can actually have a look at, you're going to actually realize pretty quickly that, the dollars don't stretch as far. Add a small interest rate rise to it, And that's really going to be detrimental at a big interest rate rise. And that really is going to have an effect on our economy quite a lot. Now, they're doing that to slow the economy down, but I think the economy was slowing anyway.
Yep.
I just think it's happening quite quick. Now, I have to precursor that because having Labor in or Liberal in or whatever the case may be, they don't control interest rates.
Yeah. Right.
But they do control what needs to happen to the environment around. And so, I'm not having a go at one political party over another. All I'm saying is it does become a little bit more difficult in the real estate market because of Labor being in.
Nice. I have heard there's some new first-home buyer schemes that are going to be coming in. Could you give us a bit of a rundown on what they would be?
A great idea from them because what they're trying to do is bring cost of living down for the people that are actually going to be affected the most there. Okay. So there was 50,000 releases of the first-home buyer scheme that comes out shortly, and you're going to find that actually has a good effect. 5% deposit, no stamp duty.
Yep.
It's a real positive move. And it's going to be great for it. Now, I did hear there was 5,000 places being released at 2% for single parents. And so it would be a very, very good opportunity for a single parent to get into a property and avoid stamp duty. And it would be possibly cheaper than even renting a property at the moment. So if they've got a little bit of a nest egg tucked aside, it certainly is one that I would be looking at either parties to be jumping in.
Yep.
And making sure they secure something in this scheme.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very
awesome.
good.
Thank you for that. That was a lot of insightful information there.
There's just one more thing I want to add, Matt, before I go, if that's okay. Look, I know people out there are struggling a little bit and they're feeling the facts or they're feeling the pressure of inflation. And what I'm going to say to people is just be aware that, be positive out there. The environment itself is changing. There's no question about it. But, the thing is that if you keep your chin up, I know there's been a lot of change to our world with COVID and all the things that are actually happening out there. Just stay positive because, you know what, the world needs more positive than negative. And I think definitely. You can look at things and go, oh, it's disastrous. But we still live in the best country in the world. We still live in the best community in the world, being the Central Coast. And hashtag, we're very proud to be coasties. And look, I really do want to see that the Central Coast are proud of what they've actually got. We're going quite well. There's a lot of things happening around the world that aren't so positive. And we've got a very good environment to be in. So keep your chin up and we'll talk to you next week or next month.
Definitely.
Thanks,
Thank
Matt.
you.
Bye.